Hello, and welcome to Living Your Best Life. This segment is designed with you in mind, an emphasis on health and wellness. My name is Shirley Gibson, and I am a certified aerobics instructor with over 20 plus years of experience. I have always been focused on taking care of our temple, but even more so since we have been experiencing this COVID-19 period. During this shelter in place and hearing about all the deaths, I have asked myself, am I living my best life? Being an African American, I began to ponder over some of the health challenges that we are up against that mostly affect our culture or race, such as diabetes and or obesity. As I started to revisit some of these challenging health and wellness topics, I sought to gain more knowledge on how to live my best life and thought it would be a good idea to share it with you, my listening audience. Okay, so we're going to dive right into it. On today's discussion, we're going to talk about diabetes. We as African Americans are affected vastly by this disorder. So I have with me today Ms. Ronita Jones, who is going to assist me with educating our viewers about diabetes, so we can perhaps make necessary changes in this area and live our best life. So Ronita,
Yes.
if you would, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. I'm a lifestyle coach with the Pitt County Health Department. Been with them for almost 3 years. But prior to that, I've always had an interest on my own in health and wellness. So I've always been very conscious, like I said, for the past 15 years about being healthier and living a healthier lifestyle.
Okay, very good. So Ronita, with diabetes affecting mostly the African American culture, can you first let us know what is the difference between type pre-diabetes and type 2 diabetes?
And there is a difference too. Now, type 2 diabetes is what you hear about a whole lot more. But pre-diabetes is something that we need to be very aware of too. And basically, the difference between the two of them has to do with your sugar or your glucose levels. Okay. And a diagnosis for pre-diabetes basically is that your sugar level is not high enough to be considered diabetes. But I always tell people, don't let the pre and pre-diabetes fool you, because pre-diabetes is a serious condition, health condition, that could lead to diabetes, stroke, and heart disease.
Okay, all right. That's good news. That's good to know, because I think a lot of us are not able to make changes in that area because we are not knowledgeable of those things.
Exactly.
Okay. And what do you say some of the warning signs of pre-diabetes?
That's the hard thing about pre-diabetes. There are really no warning signs per se. A lot of people have it for years and don't even know they have it. So that's why it's important to go to your doctor on a regular basis and to get the diagnosis if you do have it or not. And if they tell you you are pre-diabetic or borderline, that's what we hear a whole lot.
Right. Okay.
There's your chance to do something about it. As I said before, I'm going to stress this: don't let the pre and pre-diabetes fool you, because it can lead to more serious health conditions.
Okay, and that is correct, because several years ago, as I was visiting with my doctor, she diagnosed me as being pre-diabetic, and she said, Shirley, the numbers are such that if it continues here, we're going to have to put you on meds. Well, right away, I'm not for that if I don't have to. So if there's any way that I can change things up and live my best life, that's what I like to do. So I asked her to give me about 3 months to change things and shake things up. And within 3 months' time, I had changed things where at this point, it's been several years ago, and I'm still not on meds with that. So that's good to know. And it's good to know that you can take matters in your own hands in certain instances. Okay. So what do you say some of the risk factors for prediabetes?
One of the main risk factors is being overweight. But also, as we age, we have a tendency, our body changes. So anyone 45 years or older, they are at increased risk. If someone was pregnant and had gestational diabetes, that's another problem. Or even individuals that gave birth to a baby weighing more than 9 pounds. And then another thing too, family members. What's your family history? Anyone had a mother, father, brother, and sisters that were diabetic? Your chances are increased. And then of course race. Race is a major factor. African Americans, American Indian, Pacific Islanders, and even some Asians. Our chances are much greater. Those are the risk factors.
And I have heard that, and that's why it's so important that we jump on this as soon as possible so that it won't get out of control. Now, can prediabetes go away? Is that possible?
It can be reversed. Just like, listen to your story. Your story is a perfect example.
That's what I want the audience to know, that it can be reversed.
Yeah, and that's very important to know. It's all about making a lifestyle change. And listening to you, you made that change. Taking a stronger interest in your overall health. Taking a look at your weight, trying to lose weight, trying to eat a healthier diet, and that's why I tell people just keep it moving, trying to be as active as possible. But talking to your doctor and monitoring those blood levels, that's very important. The glucose levels, rather, that's important because as we age, that's another thing. So we need to stay on top of it. But more and more young children now are also being diagnosed. And probably a variety of reasons: sedentary lifestyle, their eating habits.
And probably I imagine obesity in that area, in that age level also, right? All right. Now, what should you do if you have prediabetes?
One of the main things we encourage losing weight. And that's hard for several of us, but even losing a little bit of weight. For instance, somebody that weighs 200 pounds. 5 to 7% of that current weight. That's what we're asking. That's for anyone if you're overweight. 5 to 7% for someone who's 200 pounds. That's only 10 to 12 pounds, 10 to 14 pounds. And you think doesn't sound like a whole lot, but it does make a major difference. But making a lifestyle change, losing the weight, and incorporating some type of physical activity.
Very important.
And when we say physical activity, we mean the kind of like a brisk walk. Brisk walking or anything that's similar to that, that's going to get that heart rate going. And it's recommended you get 150 minutes, at least 150 minutes a week.
That's reasonable enough.
It is reasonable, but a lot of people think 150 minutes. But the thing is, you don't have to do it all at one time. 5 minutes here, 10 minutes here, working out in your yard, just a variety of things, playing with the children, but playing to get that heart rate up, similar to if you're walking pretty brisk. Pretty fast.
And keep it consistent.
Keep it consistent.
Very good. And as you mentioned, physical activity is very important. Because as I mentioned years ago, I don't have a real bad eating habits, and I was exercising every day. So when the doctor told me I was pre-diabetic, I wasn't totally surprised because it does run in my family. I have siblings that was diabetic, and my father was diabetic. So I knew that the chances, was strong that it could show up later for me.
That's true.
And I also, believe it or not, did have children that was over 9 pounds.
So your chances were real high.
Chance was very high, exactly. So I wasn't totally shocked when she mentioned it to me, but what I found out that I had to do to turn things around was to step it up with my physical activity. So I did that, and also changed my diet. And I did that with the help of my doctor because she recommended me to see a nutritionist to make sure that things was lined up to benefit me more with my eating habits. And so once I put that combination together and beefed up that combination of exercise and changing my way of eating, haven't had any problems being diagnosed with prediabetes. And like I said, that's been several years ago.
Good. Good.
So do a lot of people in Pitt County, do you know whether they have prediabetes?
Yes. As a matter of fact, I found this out recently that when it comes to here in Pitt County, we're in the diabetes belt here. And that was interesting to find out. But prediabetes, 1 in 3 people here in Pitt County have prediabetes and don't know it. See, the thing about that, you can go for years and not have it and not be aware of it because the signs are not really clear that you do have it. That's why it's so important to go to the doctor. I want to stress that. Please go to your doctor and keep track of that. And if they tell you that you're borderline, you start asking questions, finding, what can I do? What can I? Because it can be reversed, but just like you did, because the thing, medicine does help control it, but maybe that's something we could kind of maybe keep as a last resort if you try. If you try, but sometimes you may need it.
Exactly.
You may need it.
That is true, and that's what I came to the agreement with my doctor that let me try it for at least 3 months, and so she was willing to do that. But she also let me know that it was very important that if the numbers stayed high, that I did need to go on meds. So
something else I want to add about that when you said that about going on meds and so forth, and if the numbers stay high. When it comes to diabetes and pre-diabetes, one thing, diabetes here in North Carolina, in Pitt County, is the 7th leading cause of death.
7th leading cause?
It's the 7th leading cause, and that's something to think about.
Yeah, it's pretty serious.
It is. It really is.
And I even myself, I didn't really realize the nature. Not so much the nature of that, but the devastating effects that diabetes can have on you. That's when I started reading up on it, and I've heard about having amputations and all this. And I thought, wow, this can do all this, having strokes, and I thought blurred vision. And I thought, if I can, I don't want any parts of that. So whatever I need to do or can do to correct it or even make it better for me, that's what I want to do, and that's what I was interested in doing. But as you mentioned, sometimes we may have to go on meds, and I'm not totally against meds, because if I have to take it, I take it.
Exactly.
But I always try to always make sure that it is a must that I take the meds. But like I said, diet and exercise does contribute and make a vast difference with diabetes. Okay. Now, in our listening area, does Pitt County and Lenoir County Health Department offer any kind of resources to assist with people with prediabetes?
As a matter of fact, yes, we do.
Okay. Can you tell us about that?
As I said, I'm a lifestyle coach, and one of the programs we have is called Prevent Type 2. It's in both counties. The Prevent Type 2 program is a year-long program that focuses on pre-diabetes prevention. Now, I will say this, it doesn't guarantee that someone may not get diabetes, but it helps prevent or delay the onset. And the purpose of it is to introduce you more into physical activity.
I see.
Changing your lifestyle.
All right.
Changing your lifestyle to eat healthier foods. Helping you cope with stress, getting more sleep.
Exactly.
And the primary focus is on losing weight, losing from 5 to 7% of that body weight, because it makes a major difference. Now, the good thing about the program, as I said before, it's a year long, and a lot of people think a whole year. Well, think about it. It didn't take you a year to get into the condition that you're in.
That's true.
And the purpose is to help you make some lifelong changes.
I see. Okay.
During the course of that year, we'll go through several sessions that focus on the healthier eating. Incentives are also built in to help you with this, to help gauge you to gear more so towards healthy eating.
That sounds like good news. We always like incentives.
Definitely.
Tell us more about that. Also.
The incentives, they vary. They vary from various cooking things to help you with cooking to items to help you with your physical activity as well, because several people have not exercised in a while. So it's good to talk to your doctor about when we start off slow. Start off doing just basic stretch bands, things of that sort. But the good thing about the program too is because individuals are required to monitor what they eat and monitor their physical activity, and all those things are important, and they go hand in hand.
I know I find a lot of times when I'm talking with people, as I mentioned to you, I'm very active. I'm usually working out 6 days a week for a minimum of an hour. But everyone don't have to do that. Do what you can do and do what you enjoy doing. And now I like a variety of activities. But if you like biking, then you do biking. If you like just walking, which is one of the major activities you can do, and everybody can do that.
It doesn't cost you nothing.
It doesn't cost you a thing. I was going to say that's the other thing that when I talk to people, they'll say, well, I really can't afford to go to a gym. You don't have to go to a gym. Outside is free. The air is fresh. Enjoy Mother Nature. So I talk to them about that. Other things I hear them complain about or mention is they don't have the time. Well, there's a certain point in life where we just have to take time or make time, so to speak. Because if we don't take the time now, we're going to have to take it later.
Exactly.
Okay, if we don't spend the money now on healthy diets, we're going to spend it in the doctor's office more than likely.
True.
So I tell them, whatever your schedule is, there's always a way that you can fit 5 to 10 minutes of activity in your schedule, your daily schedule.
That's true.
A lot of us, we're going to work, we may get 30 minutes or an hour for lunch. Well, we can always eat within 10, 15 minutes, use the other 15 minutes for physical activity. That's one way of getting it in, because a lot of us have to get home to our children, and once we get home, you know, our time is not ours anymore in some cases.
True.
So there's always ways to squeeze it in
Yep.
if we are really sincere about wanting to do just that.
True.
And with me, I was sincere about wanting to make those changes so that I perhaps would not have to go on meds. And thankful and grateful that so far I have not had to. Okay.
Can I ask something else in when you said said a couple of things, maybe remember?
Sure.
With the Prevent T2 program, you're in there with a lot of your peers. Everyone who's in there, they have the same pre-diabetes that you do. And the thing is, you learn from each other. So it's an opportunity to share ideas and to see the growth that takes place from, you know, within yourself and also with others. And then also would like to put a couple of little challenges in there that help make it a little, you know, more. Because sometimes it's harder. Like you've been lucky that you were able to do it by yourself, but others may need that little push, that support from others.
And some of us do. You're
exactly.
Right. And glad you mentioned that, because sometimes I may not have thought of a way or activity or a diet where to change my diet, and someone else could come up with it, and it may work for me as well. So getting that additional information from your peers in that class can be very beneficial.
Definitely.
Very good. Definitely. This is good news. Good news. Good stuff. Okay. And what age group do you know what age group are mostly affected by prediabetes?
Not really in terms, I'll say what age group, but I will say this. We have a tendency to get it more as we age. And we have to remember now that more and more younger people are being affected as well too, because a lot of it has to do with their, as I said before, their diet, and younger people aren't quite as mobile as they used to be outside running around.
That is so true.
And then as we age, we're not quite as mobile as we used to be either.
That's true. Also. Right. Okay. And I know how you mentioned about sometimes we don't find out until after we age, and that is true, because when I had my first daughter, as I mentioned, she was over 9 pounds. The doctor did mention to me at that time to kind of watch my diet at that point, because he said usually when you have large babies, that there is perhaps a chance, opportunity of you getting becoming diabetic, pre-diabetic.
That's right.
And so I was aware of that years ago, and like I said, unfortunately, about 10 or 12 years ago, that's when my doctor diagnosed me, and that was that was probably a good 20, 30 years later. So you're right that it happens as we age a lot of times. And as you mentioned with the young siblings, it's because most time they're just obese, and that's what's causing that pre-diabetes to set in most time. Okay. All right. Well, that is very good news. I'd like to say also that physical activity cannot, I just cannot stress it enough. It not only help with perhaps you not being becoming diabetic, but it just makes you feel good all over.
It clears your mind, sleep better, all those things.
Sleep better, reduces stress, and who don't want all that? Who would want to live their best life now? That's right. Right, in your younger years, so that your older years would be even better. And I'm not sure about you, but I know I want to live a long, happy life and healthy life. Yes. Okay. You mentioned that some of the symptoms perhaps could be, you said, with some of the pre-diabetes symptoms. It's
hard to detect. It's hard to detect.
Okay.
But it ranges from increased thirst, just like with diabetes, increased thirst, urination. Just notice changes. It may take a little longer for a sore to heal. All those things occur more so with diabetes.
I see.
Versus pre-diabetes. But pre-diabetes is very hard to detect.
And so you recommend that in order to get that, find out about that, to do what?
Go to your doctor.
Go to our doctor.
Or if you go to health fairs, that are a lot of places here in Pitt County have various health fairs where they may do what's called as an A1C check. You can get that done. Do that. That lets you know know.
That A1C check.
That A1C is what
Okay,
helps
so ask
diagnose.
your doctor about that, or either
Ask your doctor, or even go
at
to
the
a health fair.
Okay, very good. All righty. And as you mentioned already, one way to treat it is to check up on your diet, what you're doing, what you can do there to perhaps make better changes, and be physically active, which is very important. All righty. Well, Ronita, sounds like you gave us a very good synopsis of what to do or how we can change these things before it gets out of hand.
Yeah, and can I add this part in too?
Sure.
If anyone is interested in finding out more about prediabetes,
Okay.
or diabetes, they can contact the local health department. Here at the Pitt County Health Department, the number is 902-2300. And in Lenoir County, the number is 526-4200. In addition to having the Prevent T2 program for prediabetes, there are two also diabetic management programs. There's one called the Diabetes Support Group. It meets once every second Wednesday.
Okay.
And anyone is invited to that. A lot of resources are given with you, shared with things, and they even encourage family members. And then the other one is called the Diabetes Self-Education Program. You have to be referred by your physician for that. But you get the opportunity to work closely with a nutritionist. A lot of resources are made available to you, and both of them are very good programs.
Very informative. And that's, as I told you, mentioned that was the game changer for me, was physical activity and nutritionists. Those two things, right? And can you give us those numbers? I want to make sure that our listening audience are very aware of those numbers for the Pitt County.
Okay, Pitt County Health Department is 902-2300, and for the Lenoir County Health Department is 526-4200.
Okay, very good. And will they be able to give out pamphlets or information?
Yes. And then you can go online. You can go online as well. I know it's definitely for the Pitt County Health Department, we have some information online. You can find out about it.
Very good. All righty. Well, I think that will sum it up for us today, Ronita. I'd like to thank you very much for sharing that information with us. We'd like to ask one other question. These classes that you mentioned about prediabetes, is there a charge, or is it, how does that work?
Well, currently there's a slight charge. Okay. And moving forward, we'll be starting up again later this year. No charge is going to be associated with the program.
All right.
And I strongly encourage people, we're going to be starting recruitment probably pretty soon. We have to get through this COVID-19. We don't know what to expect right now. But we are currently going on now. And the program will be ending soon, but hopefully we'll be starting back up in September. In September.
Okay, all right.
And call Pitt County Health Department. Can I say the number again?
Sure.
902-2300, and Lenoir County 526-4200.
Okay, very good. So there you have it. Call those numbers and find out what you can do to prevent prediabetes or type 2 diabetes. All righty. We do like to thank you for watching today's segment, Design with You in Mind. I'd like to thank Ronita Jones for accompanying me and educating you, the audience, more about prediabetes and diabetes. We hope that you have enjoyed the segment and hope that you will take this information in and live your best life now. Thank you.